TOK Essay title number 3, May 2024. You know it. That's why you're watching. This may be the easiest TOK Essay title of all time. It's me, the Logan Paul of TOK. Somebody told me that. I don't know what that means. Let's get an A in TOK.
Get an A in TOK.
As we get started, I've got a lot of things to help you out. First of all, if you go into the description, this is free. You can download the notes that I'm about to use in this video. Okay, so I've got this huge organizer with links to give away. Download that, pause the video, download, then go. Keep watching this video. I don't know, but download this. Is totally free. Send it to everyone. No, don't send it to everyone so that you can do better than your friends. The second thing I got, if you need help with organizing your essay, you should totally do this too. Get an A in tok.com/free stuff. I've got organizers, tips, and examples there. That'll really help you out. The next thing, what's the next thing? Oh yeah, you can Zoom with me. You can send me your paper. Get connected with me at fiverr.com/PatFreakinJones or bit.ly/TOK tutoring. I will help you out. Packages start really cheap. I can get something to you really fast. So connect with me there. And then finally, this is so many things. Finally, a TOK Masterclass, the only online on-demand TOK course on the internet. You get all of the courses with me every single class. You can skip your boring teacher. You get all of your classes with me. But if you want to get 25% off, you can use code YouTube subscriber. That will save you a lot of money. Go ahead and check that out, tokmasterclass.com. But you want some free stuff? Let's look at this free video. Okay, have you downloaded the document yet? Because here it is, the essay guide, title number 3. You should be looking at this right now. You don't even need to watch the video. No, watch the video. Give me a like. I don't care if you like. Title number 3. I love this. Easiest title ever. Nothing is more exciting than fresh ideas. So why are areas of knowledge so often slow to adopt them? Great question. Discuss with reference to the human sciences and one other area of knowledge. Now, just spoiler alert, I'm going to suggest either the arts or the natural sciences for this. I'm not going to be giving examples for history or math because I think that this really lends itself to some things that work really well and also are really fun. This could be a really fun title and it's going to be really different, okay? So let's take a look at some of my thoughts. So this may be the easiest title I've seen, but the weird thing is it's also similar to question number 5, which is so weird. It's almost like these titles were made by different people. 5 and 3 are very, very similar. Now, this is something that might disagree with your teacher, so you just need to keep that in mind. This title makes the assumption that nothing is more exciting than fresh ideas. The title is just saying that is true. Now, sometimes we might want to challenge title assumptions. Your teacher might say in the introduction, identify any assumptions that the title makes. Sometimes you want to do that, but I would not do that this time because it would ignore the charge of exploring why we often adopt new ideas slowly. So even though we could do a whole paper saying we don't accept ideas slowly, you could do that. It's ultimately not going to answer what you need to answer. So I would just not address the assumption. Okay, so some thoughts on the organization. This essay can be organized in multiple different ways. I'm going to give you 4 different ways of organizing this essay, okay? But none of the traditional ways will work. Let me show you what that means. So most titles, they give perspective or claim. I call them perspectives. And then they give a counter perspective. Do I need to hyphen that? I'll just hyphen that. Or a counterclaim. So we go claim, counterclaim, claim, counterclaim. And that's your whole essay, just 4 paragraphs. Super boring. I've graded hundreds of TOK essays. People send them to me. Fiverr.com/PatFreakinJones, bit.ly/TOK tutoring. I've graded so many, and I'm not kidding. 98% of essays that I get, and it might be more than that, they just do 4-body paragraphs, a point and a counterpoint for each AOK, and it's boring. With that said, I would not do that for the title. I don't even know if it is possible for this title. Instead, I would organize multiple why sections. So this is a why prompt. So why are areas of knowledge so slow to adopt? Instead of organizing by AOK, I'm going to organize by different whys. That is so easy. I'm going to give you some whys right here. Why? Because I want to. Okay, so why have some AOKs slowly adopted new ideas? Before you research, I would just list as many as you can. Take my list and add to it. If you want to add to it, throw it to the comments too. So here's some of mine. So some things are slowly adopted because they challenge the current paradigm. That makes sense. Some things are not believed because they challenge common beliefs. So not necessarily a paradigm, but just what most people believe. Maybe they challenged a famous authority in an AOK. So maybe we just don't believe something because it challenges what a well-respected person has already said. That's really interesting. Maybe it challenged religion. And I'm just going to say this right now. A lot of angsty high school seniors think they're really cool for saying the Catholic Church blew it on the geocentric model of Earth. Yeah, the Catholic Church blew it. That doesn't mean that you're a genius. That is one of the most overused pieces of evidence. So I would not do, if I'm going to talk about challenging religion, I would not talk about Galileo. And I would not talk about Darwin. The reason why is you need virtually no research to be able to bring up that paragraph. And the research is honestly not required. Research is a hallmark of all top scores. So you want to learn something new for this. And if you're pulling off Galileo or Darwin, it's just coming off as lazy, okay? So you could say that we don't believe these ideas because a claim is huge and explains everything. That's what I talk about in my Title II video. Some things that try to explain everything are not believed just because of the implications. And this is true too. I'm going to get to this in my natural sciences section. Maybe an idea is so hard to understand that the experts don't believe it, and so they don't even adopt it slowly, which means that the public doesn't adopt it slowly. Here's where things get interesting though. And if you haven't downloaded this, make sure you do. Slowly accepting fresh ideas can also be viewed as a good thing. Remember, we need to bring up some sort of analysis or evaluation about the idea of accepting new ideas. So what if we say it's good? We can say that. So brainstorm reasons for this as well. So maybe it's because there's been a lot of wrong ideas and it's healthy, it's natural, it's important to slowly accept new ideas. Maybe we could say the AOK intentionally accepts new ideas slowly as to only accept the truth. So do we accept every single new science idea? No, not at all. And so that's intentional. Think about that. We can talk about this. I'm going to get into this, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to, for the first time ever, say something good about Donald Trump. I know. If you follow this channel at all, that's crazy. But if the source of the knowledge can be suspect, maybe we should be slow. Or should we? And then finally, maybe we might say it was slow because they accepted it eventually, but it just needed to be tested. So when we get a new scientific discovery, do we accept it quickly? Or do we say, no, hold up, let's test it? That's probably a good thing. Now, before we move on to the organization, as I will talk about in the conclusion, it would be strategic to comment on the nature of accepting new ideas quickly. Is it good or bad, prudent or foolish? Don't just say, I've given you 4 examples where things were accepted slowly or not, or I've given you 4 different reasons or 2 different reasons why fresh ideas were accepted slowly, and here's my summary conclusion. That's not what we're wanting. We're wanting you to say, after I've learned about fresh ideas and how they're accepted, here's the new knowledge, here's my new idea, here's my lesson or takeaway that I have learned. Okay, now, here's what most people do. Basic organization. We have a really lame introduction, then AOK 1, so for example, human sciences. Then we have 2 different ways that a fresh idea was accepted slowly. Or maybe, here's how something was accepted slowly, here's why something wasn't accepted slowly. We do the same thing for science. Here's when something was, here's when something wasn't, and then we just summarize. That's gonna score a 4. That's gonna score a 5. I have this really cool way of organizing it. I call it unique or as an organization for number 3. This is easy mode, okay? This is what most of you are gonna do. Let me kill my page break there. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna come up with 2 different whys, okay? So for example, one could be, we don't believe women. And the second one could be, I don't know, they challenge the paradigm. And then in each example, you're gonna have human sciences and then natural science. And then human science and then natural science, okay? That would be a really easy way of doing it. And so then here, you're gonna talk about what do we learn, okay? I've already talked about that. So that's an example of what we're gonna do. Let me get rid of that so that you can get a blank organizer when you download this. Also check out my other things at TOK. Get an A at tok.com/free stuff. So here's how to do the unique organization for the hard mode. You would actually come up with 3 whys. Now, if you do this, each paragraph needs to be about 200 words. That makes it very, very hard, okay? But it is possible, And what I have noticed is the scores that most often get a 9 or a 10 are doing more than 4-body paragraphs. They find a way to do 6-body paragraphs, or they find a way to do one bonus comparison paragraph there. But that is something that I'm seeing more and more, is people who do not follow the standard 4-point point counterpoint organization, they tend to score better. So here's a way: come up with 3 different whys and find the AOKs in each of them. Now what you could do with this, if you wanted to, the first AOK, the first why could be the same AOK. So you could do AOK 1 and 1, AOK 2 and 2, and then AOK 1 and 2 here. That's an option as well. But I'm just saying, oops, don't do that. Mix it up a little bit. Don't be normal. Okay, here's another one. You could say that if you want to challenge that we accept things slowly, you could say it was good to accept things slowly. It was not good to, or not necessary to accept things slowly. And you could work it that way as well, okay? And again, you could find a comparison paragraph or something there. But anyway, that's a totally different way of organizing it. And again, knowing that this is going to be the most chosen essay title, and I promise you it will be unique with how you organize it. As I get things as an examiner and as I get things on Fiverr, one of the things I notice is when I'm scrolling through just to look at the whole document first, I can usually tell what the organization is just by how many paragraphs there are. So make it, give people a change up. That's a baseball reference. You don't know what that means. You're all from Asia and Europe. Give people something different than what they're normally expecting. All right, let's move on to some examples. This is what you're really looking for. Art. So this title lets you focus on ideas and not just knowledge. And this is huge for focusing on the arts. That makes it a lot easier to integrate examples in the arts, as ideas could be interpreted as nearly anything. One of the challenges of, if you're not sold on this title yet, one of the challenges of talking about the arts in areas of knowledge is we're not talking about artistic things. We're not talking about artistic paintings or artistic performances. We're talking about artistic knowledge. But with this, they're asking about ideas, and nearly anything can be an idea when we're talking about the art. So let me give you a couple things. I'm going to butcher some French, so if you're French, I apologize. The salon des refuses, salon des refuses. I don't know how to say it, or maybe it's duo, I don't know. But basically, a lot of really good art was banned, and so they took the banned art and they presented it in the Salon des Refuses. So that's a really interesting idea about what new ideas are not accepted. This is literally what the title is asking, okay? The interesting thing is that the refused art has now become more famous than the art that was accepted at that time. So another thing that I just really wanted to put this in, you need to figure out how you're gonna insert this. But Banksy, the huge artist, he sold his art on the street for $60, and most people didn't buy it because they thought it was really low quality. So the idea that street art is valuable, that's the idea I'm talking about here, okay? Why do we accept it? This shows that we are not really accepting a new idea of street art being high art unless it's a Banksy, okay? So it's the idea that Banksy is good, or this art is good because it's a Banksy. We are not saying all graffiti is high art because nobody buys it. But when it's associated with Banksy, all of a sudden we buy it. This, I would not necessarily take this example, but I would take an example of somebody doing the same thing. So Bob Dylan was an acoustic guitar playing folk singer, and then one day he's like, I'm playing electric guitar, and people booed him off stage, threw stuff at him, and he changed genres, and everyone was angry. Now everybody changes genres. Taylor Swift has changed genres like 6 times. Yeah, nobody cares anymore. But Dylan was the first person to do it. So people would shout at him, I said that already, so now he's considered a genius. So when Dylan was booed, when his new genres, his new ideas were not accepted, why was that? You've got some research to do there, but you can look at a lot of different kinds of art, and we're gonna talk about that in the next example as well, that were new or that changed, okay? So Dylan was not accepted quickly, but now his big electric song, his most famous song, Like a Rolling Stone, was his electric song that was originally booed. Now, related to that, and you need to do more research than just the link I got here, but this is a link that you can look at. All of these are links, by the way. If I click on it, yeah. So I'll bet it's Louis Leroy, he coined the term impressionists, and it was actually not as a compliment. So when the impressionist paintings, by Claude Monet, Renoir, Cézanne, when they first came out, this guy saying all of this art is terrible. And it's just so funny because, now we all agree that these paintings are like the greatest. And so what you can do is you can think about Impressionism. You can also think about any new movement in art and how quickly or slowly it was accepted, okay? So you could also look at rock and roll. Rock and roll, if we're thinking about the 1950s and the 1960s in America, people said it was the devil's music, and now it's just normal music. You could also do the same thing about rap and how rap was not accepted by, the global community, and now it's the most mainstream musical art form. Let's see. Natural sciences. Okay, I'm going to do human sciences last. I use Barbara McClintock literally every time. Barbara McClintock, she discovered DNA. This is going to talk about what she did, and she wanted to know why corn is different colors. And really, that's what she did, but she was ignored and rejected because she was a woman. So what you can do is find multiple examples of this. I'm not sure, though, as I say this, that that going the woman route is the best route. And the reason is it's so cut and dry and it's so wrong. What else are you going to say? It was wrong that women were ignored. And then what? So while this totally works, you're going to need to think a little bit about the analysis side of that. Okay, I love this example, okay? So German Alfred Wegener, I think, people thought he was a crackpot when he proposed continental drift, which says something now that everybody agrees on. So there was basically he looked at South America and he looked at Africa and he said, they should fit together. And everyone's like, you're crazy. Now there's multiple reasons why people thought he was crazy, but part of it was because he was German. So that would kind of connect to this too, okay? So take a look at this. There's 2 links here that will talk about this situation, but this is a great article that explains everything. So what he believed, why he believed it. It's from Smithsonian, so you know it's a good source, and then why people didn't believe him. Okay, this I actually got from a from a November 2024 student, 2023, it's 2023 still, about people who thought that Einstein was wrong. So Einstein, really, really early in his career, he was still famous, but he wasn't like, Einstein yet. He wasn't an Oppenheimer. He published a paper describing the nature of light. And he said, based on things that were discovered in the 19th century, here's what light is made out of. And everybody rejected him. Everybody said he wasn't right. But they were totally wrong. So the reason that they didn't believe him was because he was challenging everything that everybody said about light. And the other reason was what people believed about light at the time was useful and helpful in explaining phenomena. So they said, what we believe, which is wrong, can't be wrong because we use this knowledge in other places. But it was wrong, which is just so cool. Here's a cool article. I don't know if you can use this about things that Einstein got wrong. You could use that for something. Okay, now for the first time ever, we are going to talk about Donald Trump being right on my channel, which is crazy. So this is a YouTube video. It's like a minute long. You'll probably want to research it.
I think it's very
I don't know if you can hear it.
sad.
So Donald Trump here is talking to a whole bunch of world leaders, and he's basically saying, all of you guys are screwing up because you're so reliant on Russian oil. And if you go to war with Russia, you're screwed. And everyone's like, oh, Donald Trump, what an idiot. And actually, he was totally right. No one disagrees with what he said now. So why didn't people believe him, despite the fact that he was 100% right at the time? Because he's an idiot. Because he's a jerk. And so sometimes people don't believe people just because of who they are. Be more specific than that, but this is an example of Donald Trump being right, and most people didn't believe him. I've got a couple of really cool human sciences concepts that you'll be able to find additional research for, and then you can connect to these concepts. The first is information cascades. So there are many places in economics and politics, which are both the human sciences, where we believe things that we shouldn't. Why are things so quickly believed? And more importantly, how does this affect the instances when we choose not to believe new things? So how does the opportunity to believe so many different things, how does that affect why we slowly believe new things? That is connected to one of my favorite phrases of all time. And I talk about this in TOK Masterclass, tokmasterclass.com. YouTube subscribers is the code to get you 25% off. This is a concept that can explain how technology has made us suspicious of everything. In a nutshell, when we don't know what to believe because anything can be fake news, because anything can be deep fake, how do you even know that I'm a real person? Maybe I'm a bot. I'm not a bot. But if you don't know what's true, you can basically get away with lying. And we can also say, oh, well, we don't know that because they're probably fake news anyway. So the liar's dividend is just this really interesting concept, and it comes up in politics a lot, where we just don't know what we can believe because of technology. So that's a really great way to connect technology and the human sciences. There's two other articles here. This one, look at this headline. This is just crazy. People are trying to claim real videos are deep fakes. The courts are not amused. This is great. So we are saying because deep fakes exist, you can't believe anything. That's the liar's dividend. Okay, democracy. That is all. Most people would agree that democracy is a good idea. I hope you do. If you don't, you probably like Donald Trump. Oh, but it didn't take the world by storm for a while. So democracy is over 2,000 years old. But why is democracy not standard in every single country? Well, the reason is democracy is bad for people who have power. So what other ideas were stunted because they were challenging to the powerful, to the government, to the leaders, or the status quo? I don't know if you necessarily need to choose democracy. You can. I've got a link right here. What did I choose? Yeah, who invented modern democracy? Because democracy was invented, we usually say in Greece, but then it really got brought into the West through France. So why did it take so long? So think about people who are challenged by new ideas, and that can be one of your whys. So going on to the conclusion, many students are going to give examples of people who weren't believed because they were women or heretical. Again, the worst answers here are going to be talking about religion, and then they're going to call it a day. So my challenge to you is don't be so basic. I'm going to make that bold. Don't be so basic. Drink a pumpkin spice latte. Instead, contemplate the nature of accepting new ideas. If we are slow, which the title has assumed and you have, hopefully proven by the conclusion, then what should we do? Is it good? Bad? Is it both? Don't go both. Take a side. That makes a stronger conclusion. So you could open or close also with a time in which you didn't believe something, then apply your new knowledge there. You could also connect it to something new. Your country, glad I didn't publish this yet, or your community. This is one of the great things. So one of the things that I always encourage people to do when they send me their papers on Fiverr, bit.ly/TOK tutoring. One of the things I say is don't talk about other countries' politics, talk about the politics in your country for two reasons. First of all, you understand it better. Secondly, it's more unique. Everybody talks about Donald Trump. So that's why you might not want to take that example, although this is a really good one. But so many people talk about Donald Trump and they don't really understand American politics. So if you're going to talk about another country's politics, make sure you understand the other country's politics, okay? Overall, I would suggest taking a stance and justifying your opinion by evaluating the effectiveness of slowly or quickly accepting new ideas. This is what an A score will do in the conclusion. A bad conclusion will say, here's my 4 points. They're both right. A top score is going to say either it's good or bad. That's what I've learned from this research. So give your examiner a suggestion or a piece of advice on what they should do next time they hear a novel idea. If you like these ideas, put them in your paper. The best thing that you can do after this, though, is go to fiverr.com/PatFreakinJones or bit.ly/TOK tutoring. Send me your essay. I'm available for Zoom tutoring. You can send me 4 essays. I can get them back to you same day if you really need that, and I know that some of you do. If you're watching this in March, I feel bad for you. Hit me up. I'm really available during March, okay? So I hope the TOK sucks a little bit less than it did at the beginning of this video. I'll see you on the next one. Or not. I don't know. Bye.